Welcome everyone to the 514th meeting of Patriots Point Development Authority. The meeting will now come to order. I particularly welcome those who might be streaming online. Still takes me a bit to get used to that. But great to see. First item is the approval of the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? Any changes, Susan?
May I change the committee report from number 1 to number 5?
Sure.
Or 6 or whatever.
Second.
Thank you.
Is there any, if there are no objections to that change, the agenda will stand as amended? The approval of the previous minutes, you received the minutes. Any changes, corrections to the minutes? If not, hearing no objections, we will accept those as presented. Committee reports. There's no development committee report. We canceled the meeting yesterday due to weather. Facilities and operations.
I'm ready. Let's start with IT. So, from an IT standpoint, we're in the process of upgrading our security system. That includes cameras that do monitoring, etc. We're also improving the performance of our IT system. That has to do with outages, less outages, ticketing, processing, etc. And we're just continuing to improve the IT platform overall. That has to do with software upgrades and so forth. There is a large video wall at the entrance of Patriots Point that's not functioning. It cost $170,000 plus to fix that. So in the meantime, we have that on hold, so that is not operating. From an operating standpoint, our flight deck renovation is now 45% complete, and as weather improves, we'll be able to finish that up in a few months. The cargo elevator renovation project will be completed in May. We had to do some major work on the gift shop HVAC system. It had a black mold problem. That has been corrected and completed. There were 3 aircraft requiring some repairs, and that was completed this past month. We do have 11 aircraft that haven't been painted in over 40 years, and we're going to try to come up with some schedule to start painting those aircraft. The problem is it costs a lot of money, $25,000 to $80,000 per aircraft to paint them, so that'll be delayed for a while. The PBR boat is scheduled to be completed and back in service in August. We talked about the Klamathore. There's no motion at this time regarding the Klamathore, but we do have 6 options available to us for disposal of the Klamathore, and one is as low as $1.6 million, and this would include the dock work that has to be done in removing the Klamathore. So the other thing going on operationally is we are beginning to make plans for the disruption of traffic coming in and out of Patriots Point when Bennett starts his Patriots Point Annex construction project. So we're preparing for that. And Mr. Chairman, at that time, that completes my report on operations.
Any questions, comments for Darwin concerning the committee report? If not, finance, Darwin going to give the report.
Finance, the good news is we do have $5,160,000 in cash and cash equivalents. One reason that number is that high is because that includes the $2.7 million that we received from the state, which is authorized to go into this account that was originally scheduled for the Klamathore disposition. And we'll have to talk about that. If you take a look at what's going on financially, our numbers are down as a result of attendance being down. And if you take a look at camping as an example, camping has zero. Our camping operation is non-functioning at this time. And that was a real moneymaker for us. Paid attendance, gift shop, parking, all of those are down simply because attendance is off. The good news is our lease revenue is literally almost as equal to the lease revenue we generated last year. So that's one real positive. The other positive thing is, while attendance is driving everything financially, February was not a good month because the weather was bad, but so far in March, our attendance is literally booming, and it appears to be coming back. So if you really want to take a look at the financial picture, if we can resolve the attendance issue and get people coming here like they were, and open up maybe along the way, get our camping program open back up, we'll be back in pretty good shape. So I know that's not a detailed report, Mr. Chairman, but that completes my report unless someone needs a specific item answered.
Any questions?
Do we have any stipulations on any of that money from the state? I mean, is it ours to use?
$2.7 million is to be used ever how we see fit. It's for operational purposes.
Okay.
Longer term, the issue is the state going to give us another appropriation for the disposition of the Klamathore?
Right.
And by the way, let me, while I'm at it, let me just mention one thing about the Klamathore. We have 6 options for disposal of the Klamathore, and some of them obviously are better than others, but we're just not prepared to make a recommendation at this time. And it's not a need to go back to the state and ask them for another appropriation until we know exactly how much money we would need.
Any other questions, comments? Zale, you want
Yes.
to tell us about the search?
It seems to be very active. Kristen provided us some numbers yesterday. As of March 14th, she's received 48 applications. Of those, she believes approximately 9 are promising, and FGP is going to begin thoroughly vetting those 9. They have also reached out proactively to 85 candidates. About a third of those have responded in some way, and 9 of the third have expressed a very strong interest in the position. Today, FGP will start evaluating an additional 164 candidates, which hopefully will yield more individuals that FGP believes have high potential, and they will reach out to those individuals as well. The position opening closes on 26 March, and Kristen asked Susan Darwin how we would feel about another virtual meeting on Friday, April 2nd. She could send us some read-ahead materials of the most promising candidates they have so far. And with that in mind, she also wanted to know, would we like to begin scheduling interviews for the week of April 12th? And you don't have, you can get,
you?
absolutely.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
thank you.
You can get back to me.
Thank you.
Right. Any questions of Zale?
We are going through, I spent 2 hours in a meeting at Mount Pleasant Waterworks yesterday where we're going through the exact same thing. Our general manager of 30 years is retiring. My schedule and that process is getting pretty hefty, so I don't know when it's going to come. I know there's a committee, but I don't want to miss either one.
Mhm.
So I may have to juggle some dates with y'all when
Sure.
we get to that point. I know the committee's going to do a primary interview,
Exactly.
right, like last time.
Exactly.
And my guess is we probably have at least a couple of weeks' notice.
That would be
later.
great.
You'll just sort of keep that in mind when we're
Okay.
working that through. I thank you to the committee, Zeb, for pushing that and looking forward to those results.
Okay.
So,
Seb, are those applicants local or are they?
I think they're probably nationwide. I know, and Kristen also said if we know someone who's ever expressed interest, to make sure they know to apply if they haven't already.
Can you ask her to send us that link to that application? Because it's kind of hard to navigate that if you don't know.
Royce, could you get Sylvia to send the link to the rep? Because Sylvia said that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just kind of tricky to find it. And there's not really a headline that says.
Okay. Anything else on search? Susan?
I apologize for being late in traffic. I had a wonderful presentation to show y'all today, but oh well, I'll have to show it to you a different way because apparently it's not working. But I was so excited about our meeting yesterday, and then going back and reading some of the materials that Keith gave us, and I put them on here. And I wanted the camera to see it too, but I'll have to turn this towards y'all, I guess. First of all, I want to tell you that Hannah Giddens, who is our, she is the science coordinator. She's part-time. She does a lot of things at College of Charleston. She's brilliant, and is the author of this book that I want y'all to take a look at. I think Keith brought one for everyone today. These are the two texts that you've heard so much about that we use in our distance learning program. And Hannah authored this one, and Cindy Clark authored this one. And they've both been upgraded, and I just wanted to show y'all this. Hannah has been recognized for her work, and her portrait is in the City Gallery right now through March, I think the end of March. And at any rate, let me do this upside down. She is being honored as one of 35 accomplished up-and-coming women in the state. And anyway, I had a lot to read, but I can't read upside down. So, but I want us to take a look at this book real quickly, because and let you know that it's right there. That you know that there are 131,000 of these books printed and to be distributed. The original number was actually 120,000, but it increased by 11,000 through request once that was established. Those will go out soon, and I want y'all to take a look. So Hannah wrote and illustrated this book, and it's the story. It's a science book. It's a curriculum based. It's your wife would love this. This is so cool. Anyway, she wrote it, and it's a story that kids would like, but that you can read. But on each page, you see this little icon. On most pages, that's called a zapper. And there's an app that's on your phone that looks like that. So when you take your Zapper app and you point your camera at it,
Water exists on Earth, 3 different states.
she goes
Solid,
into a real
liquid, and gas.
in-depth
What defines these states of matter is their volume, shape, and the spacing of particles that make them up. Water can change states of matter.
so this book, even though it's written for little kids, this material and these items that Zapper brings up are really on a much higher
And it
level.
will evaporate into water vapor.
And this is
Check
all
out
science
this boiling
based.
water.
This is the Harry I Was book, and it also has zappers
Back into
on it,
liquid.
and they go into this
Examples
incredible detailed stories about the history and the science. But put this on your phone. If you don't want it, give it to somebody. Because these are incredible. And like I said, these are going to all of our Title I schools and all those students, and we expect to have to probably redo this again. And this is the EIA money that puts all this together.
Susan, how do you deliver these books?
They got mailed out. Keith, can you tell them about how they're mailed out and that process, please?
This year we had to use 2 different publishers, but the publishers, we provide them with a list of schools. It was, with COVID and everything, we got a little delayed. They just got mailed out the last 2 weeks, which was kind of nice. Working with marketing, we changed the website. So with every box that went out, went some material that directs the schools directly to our website for further support. So they went out by FedEx, so we distributed to 635 schools using their contacts with the literacy coaches. So this year we know they're getting distributed. So all the books will be in the kids' hands, and the timing's been perfect because they're hard copies. Most kids are back into schools, and they're looking for hard copy literacy. So it was perfect.
And for virtual learning, even though this is mainly using Title right now, this is perfect for what they're looking for these kids that have not been in classes and are getting burned out. And I wanted to say too, I don't have a painting of Keith, but he really deserves one because this technology and all of this is directly him. He's a real techie guy. On to camping a little bit. This is from the report that I wanted y'all to see. This is from Keith's report, his handout. And it's a plan for bringing camping back. Somewhere. And the idea is to focus on the Flight Academy and then develop programs off of that would be so unique and so incredible that we could probably run these numbers back up. You know, there's spacing in there. They can go on the flight deck. They can look at the real aircraft. They can there's a lot they could do here. This is really key, and we need to get the personnel back to be able to do these things because we only have Keith and Hannah right now, and Hannah's part-time.
And if I could say something, that's just one of the many proposals. Mike and Chris and I are having a meeting next week. We've got a lot of different ideas because there are a lot of changes because of the catering issues, a lot of changes because of size. So it's just one idea. We have many that we need to work on.
And with that, and maybe can you send these handouts to everybody, Keith?
I think I would recommend that once we've had the meeting next week, that we can give something that's a little more addresses the issues in time.
Yeah, there's just a lot here. This is another thing that Keith made up for us, and this is a chart of all of the potential teaching spaces that are on the Yorktown. And if you could read this, you would see that we have just so many unique things. We have virtual reality. We have the Flight Academy. Of course, we've got the theater, which could accommodate. We've got classrooms below deck. The CPO galley, the shipyard on Hangar Bay. The name we need some funding to open up the nuclear, which is 60, 90 kids. And the Doolittle room, so as Keith talks about developing these ideas, this is a piece of that as well. Anything else from education, Keith? Those are the main things. We covered a lot, and there's a lot of material. Then on to museum, and I've got pictures. I'll just show them to you later. There's been updates on some of our exhibits and displays. The PDR is one of the last remaining MK1 River Patrol boats. The repairs have been contracted out, and they've removed the rotting decking, topside hardware that will be sandblasted, engine covers and other hatches and plates will be replaced or repaired. $6,500 approximately has been donated on a Facebook page of a $15,000 goal to rehab that and get it back in the water. And the foundation has raised money, and it will be hopefully returned to display before September, and that's the goal. As far as aviation, the aviation mechanics that are funded by the Yorktown Foundation have repaired 3 aircraft that were identified in 2019 by the Naval Historic Heritage Command as unsafe due to deterioration. As of March the 15th, all 3 were made safe for display, and that was again money that the foundation raised that was used for that. A third thing that's really neat is that we have a group here called Carolina Modelers, and they're in teams, they're on board, and they're repairing and painting the models of battleships on Tour Route 4. There's a team of volunteers that are finishing up the USS Gambier Bay, and I can't read my writing, Gambier Bay, and the USS Hancock model will be next. And this is really going to be another really unique and just potential for teaching and things for that. It's just incredible for us to develop. And also, and I think this is really neat. They're taking some of the things that are duplicated or old equipment or obsolete things that are not of great value as far as purist artifacts out of our storage and putting them around so that the kids will be able to access them more. They've already put together some kind of old phone system, which I can't explain.
Yes, ma'am. It's a sound-powered phone. You see them throughout the ship. They're super low-tech and they're very easy to set up. So it just takes Cat5 cable. So, for instance, and we're going to work with the education department and put up boards to explain what a sound-powered telephone is, and maybe put it down a passageway, and a guest or maybe a child could pick it up and talk to his friend who is within just a few feet away or 30 feet away down the passageway and talk to him. Like I said, it's a really simple device. We have, I'll say, hundreds of them in storage, so we can put quite a few up if we want.
There was one picture that's from World War II that I found that I thought this was just awesome. See if I can show it to you. Of this guy. Showing, and so you can think a child walking around with their cell phones, and then they think of that. I mean, all of this, again, unique, can be so standards-based in so many, multiple layers. I mean, there's math, there's science there is history there, there's just, there's age, all kind of things there that, again, can bring these groups and these campers back to us. And they're also adding another one that is a knot tying thing. I can't get it, but it's where it's a scout thing a lot of times, but they're doing that. So they're working on trying to take what we've got already at no cost and put together some more things so that we can put those labels on these things as kids come through of what standards they are. So. And I think I've missed stuff, but thanks, Keith. It's just incredible what we all are doing, and we are going to go in April to Columbia to meet with the public schools subcommittee of the Ways and Means, and try to see if we can get some more people. To do all these things, we've just got to have good jobs for people to have. So hopefully we can. That's going to be the catalyst for this, which is going to be the catalyst to bring back these large groups of kids. So that's all.
Any questions of Susan? Hearing none, thank you, Susan. Mike, Executive Director's report.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience and flexibility yesterday as we dealt with the weather anomaly that wasn't. Turned out to be a big goose egg, but that's okay. I'll take it. This is a little bit, I'd hoped to kind of go over a few things yesterday, but that's okay. As far as the report, my weekly updates, I hope that those give you a good cross-section of what's going on at the museum across the breadth of our departments. There's a lot. There's a lot going on, and it's impossible to capture everything on a weekly basis. So what I'm going to focus on today is a few things that, and I share with the directors as we meet every week. Numbers pop in my mind, numbers all the time, and to dovetail into what Darwin said, 6 million, 68, and 50. We're $6 million less revenue than a year ago than we are today. 68 less employees, full-time and part-time, and we're at 50% budget. Those just resonate with me for sure. And again, maybe I'm myopic, but that's what I'm focused on at the moment as we start to head into budget season. I'm going to start by presenting the first of 4 motions. Actually, you're going to have to give me a minute as I have an automation. I have a couple of charts to show you. If you recall last month, I introduced to you two things: the event and venues pricing increase, and also the admissions. So the first motion is to approve the venue and event rental price increase. This increases venue space rental fee by 15% in line with fair market value, while also reducing the number of venues for rent from 21 to 13. The chart, I'm sorry.
Can we get a motion from the board?
Oh.
Is there a motion to consider the event pricing
So moved.
as
Second.
submitted by staff? Second? Okay, we second. Now, take off. We're in discussion.
Okay, I apologize. It's a hopefully not too busy of a chart. Again, it's the same information that was from the packet that was sent to you last month, but current is on the left and proposed is on the right. From 21 to 13 venues. There are 8 venue spaces that we haven't rented in 2 years. They're just unused. They're untouched. People don't rent them. We have them on the menu, so we're just going to remove them from the plate. Increase the rental cost by 15%. We are undercharging people right now, and of course it's a unique venue, and while it's a challenge to operate on the ship, understand completely. It's also the most unique venue space in Charleston, and we're trying to capitalize on that. The onboard caterer, of course, Top Shelf's contract ended on 14th of March. This entire week they've offloaded. They are no longer here. Once you rent it or you utilize the onboard caterer, 50% rental discount. So for instance, if you wanted to have an event in Hangar Bay 3 and you decided to use Top Shelf, you got a 50% discount on renting that space. We were, I know I overuse terms, but we were bleeding ourselves out. We were losing money from that deal. Now we offer a preferred caterer list with 10 preferred caterers, no venue discount. Bobby Kotlowski is our event coordinator. He has over 36 events on the docket, and all of them have latched on to the preferred caterer list. Very few complaints. There's no complaints, honestly. So it's already gaining success. The rest are fairly straightforward. Minimum 4-hour rental. We weren't really getting that much from golf cart rentals. There's a lot of math and figures behind this, but I wanted to get to the gist of it. It's a win. It lowers our operating costs and increases our profit margin. It's almost a no-fail. That's it, sir.
Any questions, Mayor?
What's our most? I'm just trying to get an idea of what this looks like in dollars. So our most expensive venue is what, Flight Deck or Hangar Bay 3 or?
So if you want to rent the entire ship, if you want to start there, that's the most entire. That's the most expensive, sir. So if you want to rent the entire ship, minimum 4-hour rental, that's $15,000. So for instance, when the movie was filming here, they rented the entire ship. It doesn't happen too often, but for previously when we do the New Year's Eve event, that was an entire ship rental. To rent the Hangar Bay 3, which is probably our most popular, For a 4-hour rental, that's $3,300.
That's now, or that's with the increase?
That's with the increase, sir.
Okay.
So for instance, I'm sorry, for right now to rent Hangar Bay 3 is $2,900.
Okay.
Does that have limits on the number of persons?
Only in accordance with, so that's a great question.
Can
Right
we-
now, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and answer. I was just gonna say, I was gonna bring that up a little later.
Okay.
I think we need to talk about that separately.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Which is a motion I'm going to present here in a moment. Even though the governor lifted, there's no longer mass capacity. They defined it as 250 people. We're still restricted as a event, or excuse me, as a venue, to 750 people aboard the ship at one time. So even though our capacity, according to the fire marshal, says 1,500, we're still restricted to 750. As of 2 weeks ago, the governor said 250 is no longer the limit. However, this board will make that determination of whether an event can go above that. So for right now, 250 people in Hangar Bay 3 is the largest we can hold.
Anything else? Comments?
I just wanted to, I don't know what other venues around the area cost. I know some, but I just want to make sure, I mean, if that's a good business move for us and we're getting competitive in the market without hurting ourselves, I think that sounds good. I mean, we're not going to be above the market.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
We're still under, sir,
Yeah.
quite honestly.
When you said almost foolproof, what was the almost?
I can't predict the future, Susan.
Okay, it's a time thing, that's fine, thanks. Thank you.
All right, if there's no more discussion, the question is to approve the pricing proposal presented by staff. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? It's unanimous, the ayes have it.
Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate your patience while I play with this. Let's see if I can get this down. Oh, I went too far. There we go. And the second is the motion to increase the price of admission tickets for adults only by $3 from $24 to $27. No change to senior tickets or children's ticket prices. Again, I apologize for the chart. Maybe I can play with it and get it larger. Again, I'm not a automation.
I think we could see it. I mean,
Full screen mode.
Just figured we're all old.
How about that?
yeah.
Well, when I'm sitting back here, quite honestly, I have to squint, so it's helpful for me.
All right, is that anything else? Any questions, any comments? Discussion? Oh, well, let's have a motion. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the admissions price increase presented by staff. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Okay, we're up for discussion.
Great.
Any thoughts?
Question. So I see where Spirit Line, Boone Hall, Middleton Place, were those recent price increases?
Within the past 2 years.
Okay.
Within the past 2 years. Since 2018, I apologize, Mayor. So we have had no, I know everybody can read, but we have had no price increase for almost 3 years.
And how about, you note those three attractions, how about the aquarium in Fort Sumter?
Not since that I'm tracking since 2018, no sir.
So but they've done it within the last two.
Right.
Point
So
two,
I'm
so-
sorry. What's misleading? It says Spirit Line. Spirit Line is the Fort Sumter tour because they're the folks that
All right.
run the boats out there.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. That's true. Okay.
But Aquarium charges more than that anyway, don't they?
They charge. If you want me to, let's see if this works. I don't have that chart up here.
But it's-
So the aquarium
it's
charges, I didn't include it in this briefing, $33, I'm sorry. So we're currently 5th in the Charleston area for attractions as far as prices. We're 5th. The aquarium, to your point, ma'am, is the most expensive.
The increase will put us
4th.
fourth.
Yes, sir.
4th, we're still behind those other big venues. Okay.
Any questions, any comments? If not, the question before you is to approve the admissions price increase by $3 as presented by staff. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous. Okay, Mike, what else you got?
The last two, which we just discussed briefly, motion to increase event capacity above 250 guests, consistent with the governor's executive order and SC Accelerate regulations. As we just mentioned, 2 weeks or so ago, the governor lifted that restriction for mass gatherings. We currently have it aboard the ship, per your direction, no guests, no large gatherings above 250 people. There are six scheduled for this year that are requesting anywhere from 325 people. There are some that are in the 600 range, but those are landside outdoor events.
And when are these events? Can you give us a sort of a range of?
The closest to get to the boat, the closest event is Charleston Southern University has an event next weekend, March 26th, with 325 people. They submitted their COVID plan. I've seen their COVID plan. It's actually the most complete and thorough plan that I've read that's been submitted. Not to compare apples and oranges, but they are extremely detailed. I said 325. It's 350 actually. 350 people for the fantail and Hangar Bay 3.
So we're talking about our self-imposed numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
We're just going to undo that. Or,
Yes, basically, yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Any thoughts, Mayor?
You need a motion?
Yeah, we need. Well,
I kind of
yeah, we really do to discuss it. So, is there a motion to remove the limit on events?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All right, there's a motion on the floor, Mayor.
With all that's circling around everything about COVID precautions and the highly publicized event that was New Year's, I get it, and I get that we're a state entity and everything. Could we add to the motion that we need, maybe, I think we need to have discretion that, if the limit is gone, it is still subject to Patriots Point approval of their COVID plan while we're still in a state of emergency. So I think just throwing the number open, within, 90 days of having canceled the New Year's Eve thing, somebody could say, well, y'all were being very inconsistent. But if we have, and we could suffer some really bad, brand image negativity and that kind of stuff. Could we make it subject to, if it's a group over 250, that staff has to recommend to the board that we've seen their COVID plan and we think it reduces the risk to the public and to the image of Patriots Point? That's my main thing.
One thing, I was thinking something similar,
Okay.
maybe a little higher number, but a number that the board
Yes.
has to,
Yes.
agree to and say, yeah, that's okay, particularly on ship,
Right.
or in the hangar bay in an enclosed area. And I was wondering about that, if it's,
Right.
350 or whatever, and then it's not, and the board can consider it with COVID plans and all this other.
What if we leave the 250 as a mark and do what Wayne said, take everyone under consideration? If the count starts going back up, we don't have to recreate the 250. We can say, I'm sorry, we're going back to our 250. I don't see letting the 250 go. I would rather approve those.
Okay.
I would think it'd be better to approve the groups.
Over 250.
Maybe you don't.
Well,
No, I don't really.
If the state has lifted the 250 restriction, then they have,
you want to do.
I'm trying to figure out where a happy medium is. I think we need to, first of all, approve that the 350 event that's getting ready to occur.
Yeah.
And maybe we can approve them on a one-on-one basis if they're above 350, but I think we ought to go ahead and approve the 350 for sure.
Oh, I agree. I was just leaving
Leave the
sort of
250 as
a lock in the back
Yeah.
in case
Well-
you have to go back to it.
True.
Remember,
the state would go back to it too. So it would be-
the question currently before us is the current capacity of 250, and we'll come back and look at, depending on what we do here, come back and look at the event coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, unless you just don't want to do anything with it where we are now.
So I'd like.
Mike, were you gonna
Oh, I'm
say?
sorry.
Mike?
Mr. Mayor, I don't want to. My only question on that is, so every 30 days we conduct a board meeting, and let's say I present a venue or two or an event that wants to go above that 250. Quite often, Bobby will book an event that falls in between. Somebody will want to rent the ship after this. Let's say today, after this convenes, and they want to do it on April 4th for 300 people. We don't meet again until mid-April, and they have a tight plan, and it looks great, but we can't get a decision until every 30 days, if that makes sense.
How many events do we have over 350 people?
There are seven. There are 7 events. Again, 2 of them are going to be outside large events scheduled for right now, 600 to 700 people, and we've told those folks, still sorry, but they've asked. There's Charleston Southern next weekend. There's an Air Force ball requesting 350 people. Of course, those are airmen who've been inoculated, they've received the vaccination. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a few more.
But there's 7 that exceed 350, or those
Not 350. I'm sorry, 250. I have big ears, but I'm deaf. I'm sorry.
So, how many events do we typically have that would exceed 350?
In a normal year, a dozen.
Okay.
Why don't we approve 350 and then anything beyond 350 comes to the board for approval?
And if we're between board meetings, how about the chairman and whatever committee head direct?
And they have to have COVID plans. They have to have all these things.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Would you entertain an amendment to the motion then for those 2 things?
So, well, I think where we are is the motion was to go to drop the 250.
Okay.
So the amendment, we would need an amendment to move the capacity to 350.
Right.
Anything above 350 requires approval by the board in the event of a quote emergency type situation. The chair and the staff could look at that. They would be required to have a solid COVID plan. Does that cover where we need to be?
That would have to be an amendment.
Right, that's what it says. That would be an
I'll make
amendment.
that in the form of an amendment.
There's a motion to amend. Is there a second?
Wait. We're still in executive session, aren't we?
We're not in executive session.
Have another cup of coffee there, Pat.
All right, so is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right, so the question before the board is an amendment to raise the capacity to 350, approving all events up to 350. Anything above 350 is approved by the board. They have to have a COVID plan, and in the event that there is some kind of emergency, the chairman and staff can do an emergency approval.
Okay.
Does that cover everything we talked about?
Yes.
Any other discussion about that? Hearing none. All in favor of the question, raise your right hand. All opposed? All right, the motion is amended. The question now before us is the question to lift or to move the capacity requirement to 350. All in favor say aye. All opposed? No, or right hand. Okay. Thank you. All right, Mike, anything else?
This one should be fairly straightforward and simple. Motion to allow free admission for Vietnam veterans and their families on March 29th, which is Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day. This is consistent with our practices over the past 8 years.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion as presented, right hand. All opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous. Do we, Mike, anything else? Do we need to talk about masks or anything?
I think so.
Yeah.
What? What did you say?
Man, doing so to be heard.
It seems to me, it seems to me that we need to have this discussion. So I just wanted to put it on the table in terms of, see what y'all are thinking if we need to continue requiring masks. Or what the feeling is now. Or if anyone
What do
has a
you-
motion to.
What are you hearing, Will?
You know, the governor's executive order notwithstanding, it does not preclude us from doing any of those things, a municipality or the Yorktown. And we're continuing to require those in the town, on town property, for the protection of our staff so that we can maintain critical services. It's a readiness issue. I would think, you know, especially on the Yorktown, sure, the flight deck's outside, and I guess, you know, the hangar bays are semi-outside, but there's a lot of places where if we have maskless people in a small enclosed environment like a passageway, I think the risk of exposure to them and our staff is still there. And this, you know, maybe a month from now we won't be there, we don't know. But locally, the municipalities and all are not just throwing caution to the wind on masks right now.
Other thoughts?
Can
Susan?
you say, well, like on those tour routes, can you say, let them not do masks but stay away from each other? Distance or whatever? I mean, would that work?
If I could, to add on to what the mayor was saying. So the clarification, again, the governor lifted the requirements for masks in government buildings, which were government buildings or a state entity. Further guidance dictated that we follow the local municipality, as the mayor just pointed out. So as Mount Pleasant, the town of Mount Pleasant does, so does Patriots Point. There's a laundry list of refined guidance. So for instance, Susan, if your group comes within 6 feet of another group, they ask that you please wear a mask. We were thinking about maybe changing our wording. Masks are mandatory to masks are recommended or strongly recommended, and with the subcategory, if your group or you cannot maintain 6 feet of separation between yourself and other guests, please wear a mask out of their, in courtesy of other visitors. Just so everybody understands, our public safety and our guests and our volunteers, we have never enforced it. We've never asked anybody to leave who's not wearing a mask. Now, over the past several months, very few folks have not worn a mask, but there are people who do, who just decide I'm not, especially on a flight deck, or they just forget to put them back on. We've reminded them, but we've never said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to leave. Because some folks, they just do what they do, and they don't want to.
And some folks truly have a medical exemption.
Yes, sir.
We run into that too.
Why would we not follow the town's guidelines on this?
Well, what are the guidelines for children? That's where it gets
If
tricky.
they are under 12, the ordinance does not apply if they're under 12. But schools, of course, they're wearing them all day, and I would think too that do we still have school groups coming on this ship right now, or not at all for day trips?
We had one yesterday morning at 9 o'clock.
Well, they got to wear them all day at school, and they're trying to keep from having spread. I mean, my wife's a 5th grade teacher; she's in it all day, every day, and I think it would be hard, for us to have a different rule than the schools for the school children. So, if we want to be
And a lot of
in line with
places,
education,
a lot of places are requiring masks over 2.
yeah,
Kids over 2.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
zoo in Columbia,
Mm.
kindergartens.
Wow.
Yeah.
The worst thing has been, and y'all probably saw the well-publicized friction they had at Bessinger's Barbecue over on West Ashley, is when the governor lifted the mandatory mask in restaurants. That, and Bessinger's is an institution down here, as you all know, that somebody walked in I think they lifted it on a Friday, and some people walked in on Sunday, and they have chosen as a private entity to still require masks for the safety of their staff and everybody. And some people went belligerent and started cussing at the staff and everything. That made the news. And you know, once you make it sort of optional or just a request, you're going to have people that, you know, they're freedom fighters, and that's the last stand for freedom, and they're going to cuss you out if you say, but this is our property and we have the right to require it if we want to. So I think once you make it a suggestion instead of a requirement, you open yourself up for the big argument. So I know it's the president of the medical university. I met with him last week, and he said they knew it was going to be messy getting things right coming in to the pandemic. It's going to be messy coming out. But I think in another month or so, our mask requirement expires on April 15th, and I don't see the will of our council to renew it. So I think in another month we might see them, you know, not being required anymore around here.
And again, why would we not follow Mount Pleasant's
You should.
So
policy?
maybe
I mean,
hold on
we're
for
in the
one
town.
more,
I mean,
one more month. Yeah.
I think we should.
I would, as the mayor, and I guess that's the reason, you know, this is an ex officio office, is to bring the town's perspective and keep, you know, Patriots Point in the town in unison. It would be, I mean, we require them when people rent Alhambra Hall, and we have limits on the crowd and all that. So we're very much in sync on those right now.
So do our capacity things requirements we just passed?
It's pretty
Maybe
much in
all-
line, and there again, you know, capacity is different for every
Right.
venue. It's
Right.
not one size
Right.
fits all, but we have the same thing. We have to have a COVID plan, a precaution plan, and all that.
All right. Chair would entertain a motion that regarding mask policies that we follow the town's guidance. Is there a motion? Pat, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, or
Aye.
right hand. All opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Is that everything for Executive Director?
It is. You guys-
Okay. Are there any public comments for the board? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing contractual, legal, and personnel matters pertaining to Patriots Point Development Authority. Hear a motion? Deb, second. Susan? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we will move in executive session. Take 5 minutes if you need it.
I'll take my mask off and get my hearing aids done.
You lose them, don't you?
Lose your earrings.
Do you have that thing in your computer? If you lose one, you can pick it up. I've used it.
I've got it.
You don't want to use it.
I actually lost one hearing aid. I don't know about the South Dakota, but, you know, found out.
I can send that to you electronically.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, but at least you'll have that. I mean, like you need the paper, right?
Royce, would you stay?
Not so.
Chauncey Clark
I
kind
would
got
like
to it.
for you to
really?
go through that.
Well, Chauncey was
Because,
one for mayor.
I mean, that.
We're streaming again, just so
Whatever
everybody.
happened.
I can find out.
I'm just curious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm not sure
don't
how
know.
much more specified the things we.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I'm just
Curious.
So did you look at that?
Sure.
to
Still
see
be
if
friends,
these-
but I'm on the opposite
Well,
side.
I'm on the-
Mhm.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's not, I mean, when I was on PLC, that's what we did. You know, those grants came forward.
Exactly.
You have to write them right.
Apologized to her, because I think,
Oh, no,
I just went in there
Yeah.
yesterday after the meeting and I just said,
Losing my mind here.
where do you get these?
I don't know what you guys are calling.
And he said, if I can just fill this one position, he said, that's a good story, you know. I said, and then we'll see what we do. And then, you know, I heard, you know, we heard, you know, everybody, you know, there's 2 or 3 places, if not
Yeah.
more, that there are just issues.
I understand.
Okay. All right, are we rolling?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Susan, do you have we're back in open session. There were no decisions or votes taken or decisions made in our executive session. Ms. Marlowe,
Yes.
you have
I'd like to make a motion that, we have staff analyze the needs for personnel on the ship. And discuss that with the directors and find out, what we need, and, bring that information back to the finance committee as soon as possible.
is there a second? Seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? It's unanimous. Passes. Is there any other business to come before the board today? Seeing none, we stand adjourned. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Wayne.